All right, welcome back to Ron's Garage. I'm Ron. Today, I haven't been able to get over here all week. Just couldn't get out of work on time to get over here and do some of the things I wanted to do. So it's Saturday afternoon, and my project for today is to work on the steering. But I have to do some other things first. Before I can figure out the steering geometry and whether I need U-joints and double D shaft, I have to figure out where the column's going to go. But before I do that, I have to figure out the height of the seats. I already know they're low, and I want to raise them up because the window sill here is, about the top of my shoulder height, and that's too low, and it's a little hard to see over the steering wheel, or not the steering wheel, but the hood. So I'm going to take out these Corvette seats that are in here. I don't want to use them anyway because they're electric, and oh, what a pain trying to figure all that stuff out. So I'm going to take these out. I have some 86 Camaro seats that were in my Camaro that I'm going to put in here. They're a little bit taller. Well, maybe one of them is about the same as the Corvette seats. One might be a little lower, actually. So, but I have stuff. I have some wood blocks, and I have some metal. I've got 8 of these, and I've got a couple of these. Like I said, and I've got some wood blocks, so I'm going to mock up the seat, the driver's seat anyway, where I think I need it to go. I was also trying to get over here this week to put some stuff away. I'm still moving into here, and I haven't got everything put away yet, so I still have to do that, and maybe I'll do some of that later, but first goal is I've got to get that driver's seat out. So it's only 4 bolts, should be easy enough. I'll come back in a minute. Okay, got one seat out, the driver's side. That's all I'm really concerned about right now. So I'm gonna bring that Camaro seat up here and set it in and start playing with the height a little bit. Just to show you something else that's like, oh my God, what was this guy thinking? I rigged up a light in here to help everybody see. He has an aftermarket column rise there, but it's off center. It's only got 1 bolt in it. I don't know if you can see under there, but there is a second bolt that the column is supposed to attach to, and it's an aftermarket column. It's not from here, this car, but of course. So I've got another column I'm going to use, but I'm not going to use that. Number one, I think it's going to be way too long, and number two, it looks a little cut up, and I'll figure out something else to use. But for right now, let me get that seat in place and some blocks under it and see where it lands. I'll be back. All right, well, that was fun. It took 3 2x pieces to get up to where I want the height of that seat to be, and that's 4.5 inches. So that was fun, let me tell you. That seat is very back heavy, and trying to hold that in place on those things while I got in there, yeah, you'd have been laughing. I was laughing. So now I know what to do with the steering column. I know I'm going to raise it all the way up as far as I can get it, and the other column I have is also a tilt, so even if I have to raise it up and then tilt it down a little bit, I'll be okay. Then once I put that in, I got to cut that steering shaft up there so I can get that out, and then I'll be able to figure out the geometry going down and up to the box, and whether I'm going to need 3 U-joints or 2. With 2, I'll have to put a Heim joint in there, of course, or I'm sorry, with 3. And that'll be fun trying to figure that out too, because the headers are in the way. But it is what it is, you know. they said it was fun, not easy. So, but it is fun. It really is, trying to figure this stuff out. So that's where I am now. Now I'm gonna take a little break and then see if I did bring my air hose this time, so I may chop that column and see if I can get that column out of there. So I have to have some brackets made for the seat, or make them rather. 4.5 inches is exactly that. So that. So I don't know if I'm gonna maybe weld these together, cut this here and weld these together and just make columns to sit underneath each corner, or try to make a flat stock curved bracket to go under it. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out, so I'll be back. Okay, step one of removing the column. I cut that chintzy little U-joint out of there. So now I can lift the column out, because there was no slip joint or any kind of bolted union or anything I could get to. Well, not even get to, there's nothing. It was welded here and it was welded down at the box, so the whole shaft. So I had to cut something to get it out. So I cut that little U-joint right there. And now I'm gonna try to get the column out. A bit of good news, so to speak, not really. Just as I'm finishing this, my landlord, where I rent this garage, calls me up and telling me they're selling the house that belongs to this garage. So that's special. He doesn't know if I'm going to be able to stay here, if the new owners will continue letting me rent this garage. So I may have to start looking for a new shop, and I'm not even moved into this one yet. So that's just lovely. All right, let me see if I can jerk that column out. I'll be back. Alrighty, got the column out. In the back is the Corvette tilt and telescoping column that I pulled out of there, which you can see better now. That's where that universal joint was just welded on the end of it. All the splines are gone. I don't know what the deal is with that. The column I'm going to put in is this one. It has a 1-inch spline end. It has a plate, a firewall plate that's intact. And it is just a tilt column. Now, it'll look better once I clean it up and repaint it. Something else that came with this car, or with this column rather, is the steering wheel. Let me get back a little bit so you can see it. Like that. That is a good, now let's stand it up here. That's probably a good 2.5 inches bigger in diameter than the wheel that's on it, and even that, you know, racing style steering wheel I've got up there. That's brand new. I've never used it, but it kind of came with my Camaro. But so that will certainly help with running manual steering. So I think I'm going to clean that up, and I may dye the plastic black, but I'm definitely going to clean that up and use it at least initially, until I make the decision whether to go with power steering or leave it the way it is. So, but the column's out, and as soon as I pulled that column out of there, this steering shaft, let me see if I can get you a look at it, sprung over and is now hard against the header. So that is, you know, it just amazes me every time I do something on this car and see this stuff. So again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see, but that's where a 3/8, looks like a 3/8 extension was welded in there. And the part on the left goes down and is actually the steering box, no splines again. So I'll have to cut it down there someplace, and then put a U-joint there, and then come out toward the firewall. And this column actually will end. I'm trying to get down here where the hole is, just barely, but this column will actually end just outside that hole. So just by eyeballing where everything's going to line up, it's looking like I'm going to need 3 U-joints, but I don't know that. I'm still just kind of guessing here, so I won't know until I get the new column, the column I'm putting in here, until I get it in here and see where everything actually lines up. If I got to use a Heim joint, I got to figure a way to get from the frame through the headers over to that shaft. And I know that I lose strength for every little bit I lengthen the stud on that Heim joint, so not looking forward to that. Possibly I could put it up here, you know, at the end of the headers and come out this way. It's possible, I guess. And then just build a bracket up off of the frame to go over there. That's about 6 inches, it looks like, maybe 7. But that's not out of the question. It's just a matter of putting this column in, seeing where everything lines up, and then trying to find some parts. Something else I noticed while I was here, very interesting, is if you can see all the way down there, the shifter arm that comes up off the transmission is about wore in half. It looks broken, so yay me, but that's a cheap fix and easy fix too, so we'll get on that too. So that's about as far as I'm going to go today. I got some other stuff I got to do, so I'm going to be heading on over to the house and doing that, and working on some other stuff and getting a little bite to eat. Haven't eaten lunch yet, and it's almost 2 o'clock. So I'm going to do that. So, and then try to think about what I might be doing for a new garage soon. So we shall see. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll try to get another video up later in the week when I'm going to take this tire off and try to get under there and see what kind of geometry I've got to deal with, and maybe try to get the column mounted one night this week after work and see what happens. So thanks again. Bye.